Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Farsi Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag, and it is wonderful to have you along for the ride. Phillies have a fantastic road trip. I mean, it really is hard to ask more than, hey, 5-1 on a 6-game road trip. And the only game they lose, they show up at, what was it there, 3 a.m. in Cleveland, Ohio, to start a 3-game series there with the Guardians. And every other game that they didn't, we're going to get it at 3 a.m., they won. So that's a good thing. Maybe sleep does have something to do with it. Zach Wheeler was absolutely dominant yesterday. Kyle Schwarber, the Schwarberian that he was every ounce of it yesterday. That was quite the performance, especially when you factor in the idea how frustrated these Phillies hitters were with Alan Porter, the home plate umpire, who, as I said, I actually went back and I counted. I think it was 73 times I mentioned that Alan Porter is not very good at his job being to call balls and strikes. That was not fun. That was not fun if you were a hitter, especially if you were Trey Turner. You go into that game with a 9-game hitting streak, and you leave that game with a 0-game hitting streak with 3 strikeouts. It was not good. I love the idea, though, that Kyle Schwarber just kind of used everything as fuel, it looked like, especially in one particular instance when he hit his second home run of the game. It was a slider that I swear it was thrown by Herron. Then it revolved around Kyle Schwarber into the catcher's mitt for somehow magically a strike. First strike of the at-bat. It was a 2-1 count at that point. And Kyle Schwarber just you can kind of see him step out of the batter's box for a second and just go, I don't think so. I don't think that was a strike. And then the next pitch, he belts out of the ballpark for a 2-run home run. And also a big sigh of relief to get some insurance runs for the Phillies there in the 8th inning. Everybody that pitched, though, did great. You had 3 pitchers pitch for you yesterday. Zach Wheeler, the most notable. 7 scoreless, 8 strikeouts. You love to see it. Jose Alvarado came in, was perfect. Jordan Romano came in. He was perfect. And then the Phillies they won. They won the game. It was just that easy. 3-0, 5-1 on the road trip. 5 straight series they have won. It was beautiful to follow all of it yesterday. Also, over the weekend, Phillies really just dealt for the most part. Really considering the last 6 games they've played, including the 3 games, obviously, in Tampa. This was just, you know what it was? It was a sight for sore eyes. The way the Phillies have played almost over the last month of the season has been a sight for sore eyes. Now they come back to Citizens Bank Park, South Philly. They start a 3-game series against a very hot Cardinals team. They look to keep it going there. Kyle Schwarber looks to keep it going, as he, by the way, now has hit his 13th and 14th home runs of the season. Now he's in a 2-way tie for the Major League lead with none other than Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. That's some good company to be in for Kyle Schwarber. But I look back over this over the weekend, over the last 6 games the Phillies had here, this road trip, and it's just been fantastic. It's been great, especially when you talk about Taijuan Walker getting out there. You talk about Alec Boehm getting his first home run of the season. I know it's better late than never, but hey, hopefully it really starts something. He gets another 2 hits for himself yesterday. He also works a walk. A lot of good things to get into. I'm trying to identify the major problem right now with the Philadelphia Phillies. And I'm trying to also heap praise on something that they've done extremely well. And when it comes to the criticism with the Phillies, it really comes down to what we have been concerned about over the last 3 years. And it's just whether or not hitting will dry up. Now, yesterday, Kyle Schwarber was the star of the offensive show. No question about it. But when you have a lineup like this, you need somebody like that to be able to step up at least once. So just one person can make that much of a difference. Yesterday, you got 3 runs. All 3 were courtesy of Kyle Schwarber. There are days, unfortunately, where it just looks like nobody can swing the bat well. Game 1 of this series, most notably, whether you want to blame that on sleep or not, I choose not to. But it seems like there's always those instances where this lineup just goes cold, and they could barely even record a hit. They can't hit with runners in scoring position. They make boneheaded base running mistakes. Nick Castellanos, game 1 of the series, trying to stretch a single into a double. Things like that just drive you crazy. Shooting themselves in the foot, as they say. Then I look at the opportunities of this. The bullpen certainly rears its ugly head every once in a while. Last night certainly not an example of that. But the one thing that this Phillies team, no matter what the struggle might be in one night to another, or one game to another, is that this team really doesn't panic. And I know we could always look at the manager and say, he's always this, he's always flatline. Tinker Topper is always flatline when it comes to this baseball team. And I was mocking him about a month ago, where he talked about this, saying, we're a good baseball team. Yeah, they had just gotten swept by the Mets. We're a good baseball team. Like scoffing at the idea that they would ever underachieve in a regular season, that is. This team certainly has the mentality and attitude and persona, more than anything, of its manager, where the boat's never rocking. It's just staying even keel the entire time. It's not a bumpy ride. The road is well paved with this baseball team. And the Phillies, for whatever reason, thrive in that environment. And it's not June yet. And June is the month that we usually wait for the Phillies to go, all right, it's not June. We're not judging anybody till it's June. And although I do like to practice the Jason Stark mindset, and I think of Jason with this. I don't think of many other people. I know other people say it, but Jason Stark's the one that really rings true in my head. Like being concerned about the lineup before Memorial Day. I think that's his rule. Being concerned about it, about the lineup, being concerned about the standings before Memorial Day is insanity. So he doesn't really do it. I try to practice that as well, but I feel pretty good about where the Phillies are right now. 8 games over 500. I hope, and I don't think. I hope they haven't played their best baseball. I don't think they've played their best baseball. I believe they have better baseball to play in front of them. And when you look at a guy like Alec Boehm now hitting his stride, getting out of that 1-for-24 slump that he was in, you put the Mets series in the rearview mirror with 5 straight series wins. Bryce Harper's power at Citizens Bank Park has been far better than it has been on the road. This is a big 6-game home stretch for Bryce Harper. He had a very good middle game of this 3-game series against the Guardians. We'll get into that more in a second. Nick Castellanos has continued to be a consistent hitter for you. Kyle Schwarber on pace for a 50-plus home run season, maybe even an all-star this year. Bryson Stott hitting a little bit of a schneid over the last couple of games here. Hope he gets out of that and gets back that closer to 300 batting average. On base percentage has still been good. Max Kepler has been much better than I anticipated going into this season. And you continue to look at guys like Jesus Luzardo, for instance, in your starting rotation, and where he could be this time, maybe at the later stages of the season, how clutch he could be. And then the thing that really is the overriding factor of all of it is who gets called up. Who are the next guys up here? Rafael Marchand has left a lot to be desired when it comes to what's going on behind the plate. And there is one thing that just flat out, even more so than the Phillies losing game 1 in the fashion they lost game 1 of this series against the Guardians. After that game, Rob Thompson had the cojones to answer a question about, I think it was Matt Gelb of The Athletic, saying, you had Rafael Marchand catch Aaron Nola, given the success of JT Realmuto catching Aaron Nola. Any thought to having JT catch him? And he acted like there was no difference between Rafael Marchand and JT Realmuto. For those that maybe haven't been following very closely to baseball over the last decade, JT Realmuto, often referred to as the best catcher in baseball. No difference was the attitude that Rob Thompson copped. Now, to be more specific, and perhaps more fair, Rob Thompson said, Rafael Marchand does his homework. He does his homework. He knows what to call. Okay. I'm glad he does his homework. He shouldn't be in the majors if he doesn't do his homework. And are you really going to act like you're going to put him on the same level as JT Realmuto? Oh, by the way, Aaron Nola's ERA. I don't want to get too analytical here. These are deep analytics. Aaron Nola's ERA with Rafael Marchand. Dog crap. Way up there. It's high. It's very high. His ERA with JT Realmuto, oh, man, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful fragrance. Dog crap, beautiful fragrance. This is easy. Again, I don't want to get too technical here. Dog crap, beautiful fragrance. What are we doing? I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Can we please have JT Realmuto catch him? And another thing, and it was so avoidable, too. You had Jesus Luzardo pitching in Tampa with JT Realmuto behind the plate. Just keep it the same, baby. Keep it the same. Especially when it's a day after JT Realmuto fouled a ball off his foot. I know he was fine. He was walking around the clubhouse. He was fine. Just give him a day off. Give him a day off anyway. Give the guy that had been catching Jesus Luzardo another opportunity in catching Jesus Luzardo like Rafael Marchand. So you line up things a little bit better for Aaron Nola to get the guy that he's been playing the best with, throwing the best with. That's one thing that actually pissed me off over the weekend. And Rob Thompson doesn't usually piss me off, but that pissed me off. But all in all, now the Phillies are coming home for a 6-game homestand here. Look forward to it getting started tonight, by the way, 6:45 start time against the St. Louis Cardinals. So get that underway. The NBA Draft Lottery is more on the Phillies in a second, but the NBA Draft Lottery gets underway tonight, 7 o'clock start time. Very excited to see whether or not we just watched a NBA record 52, 53, 54 different starting lineups. And when I say we watched, I mean probably most of you followed and I watched when it comes to the 76ers and whether or not they're terrible 2024, 2025 campaign that started with, when I say started, I should probably say, had at one point a little bit of promise with the acquisition of Paul George. And, hey, Joel Embiid's playing in the Olympics, so he must be healthy. That's hilarious that we had that thought enter our brains. And anyway, it all comes down to tonight. I'll go over these again for later in the show, but just so we help each other commit it to memory looking at tonight. The 76ers right now have a 10.5% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick. I'm going to go and say it doesn't happen. But 3 other teams have a 14% chance: Jazz, Wizards, Hornets. Pelicans have a 12.5 point percentage of getting the number 1 overall pick. Sixers are getting a top 4 pick, 42.1%. They're getting a top 4 pick. Top 6 pick, they have a 64% chance of at least keeping in general their top 6 pick. If they fall out of the top 6, like most of you know by now, that pick goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it's good because the Oklahoma City Thunder, oh man, they need draft picks right now. So that's where we're at right now when it comes to your Philadelphia 76ers. Draft lotteries tonight. Just don't make it for nothing. There's nothing they can do at this point. It's all in the lottery's hands. I'd love to see the NBA gods, if you will, smile upon the Sixers favorably tonight. But here's the rub. Even if the Sixers do manage, let's say, a top 4 pick, even if they do manage top 5 pick, like the fate not only smiles on them where they keep their top 6, but they move up even a little bit. It still all comes down to the Joel Embiid being healthy. There's no hope for the 76ers right now. That's how it feels. You want to believe, but I think we're all in the same boat here as people that root for the Sixers. It doesn't matter until you show me. And then even when you show me, and I'm talking about showing me like midway through the season, show me. I'm not talking about, oh, wow, they got a good lottery pick. Oh, wow, they got a good draft pick out of this. It ain't about that. It ain't about that. It's about going out there and giving me great basketball. Top team Eastern Conference type of basketball. And, you already concern yourself with the Knicks. You concern yourself with the Celtics. The Cavs, man, they're laying an egg right now in the postseason. But the Pacers, even like the Sixers, just look old for the most part, which is why it's drastically important to get younger. Why it's drastically important to get Tyrese Maxey continuing to take big steps forward, and Jared McCain giving you what he can give you, and continuing to develop his game and being healthy. But right now, it just looks like even if the Sixers are healthy next year, are they good enough next year above all else? And that question, for me, is answered with a nope. That's how that feels right now. Because even if Joel Embiid is healthy next year, I don't see him still having MVP potential in that body of his. I see him managing, load managing for the rest of his career. Oh, yeah, it's only, a 4-year deal left after that? Oh, God. Hopeless is how you feel watching this Sixers team right now, following this Sixers team right now. So until they go out there and show you that they could consistently beat a team like the Pacers or the Celtics or the Knicks, and they can really compete to actually move past any one of those teams in the postseason to get to an NBA Finals, yeah, we're all in the same boat here. Any glimmer of hope that they could give you would just be getting the best possible draft lottery spot and then getting the best possible player they can get on this squad from the six guys that could potentially get here. That's if they get a lead. Can they get a smirk from the basketball gods tonight in the lottery? Can they get a smirk? Or can they get a smile? A smirk would be they keep their top 6 pick. A full-blown smile would be they get a 4 or 5. And then, I don't know what you would call it. A good old-fashioned hearty laugh if they get the number 1 overall pick. That would, of course, give you the most hope. But until they go out there and show you, it just... Here's the one instance where I won't fault fans for a wait-and-see type of attitude. Because we have waited. We've been patient. We've seen, and we have been wildly disappointed. That's where we're at right now when it comes to your Philadelphia 76ers. Ain't it fun? Yeah, it's a blast. So let's talk about something that makes us feel a little bit better. Your Philadelphia Phillies. Let's get into yesterday just for 1 second here. Take a look at this. These are the numbers from yesterday, your box score. For your Phillies team, Bryson Stott did get a hit for himself yesterday, which is good to see. Also worked a walk on base twice. Good for a leadoff hitter. Kyle Schwarber, clearly a cut above the rest with his 2 hits, both home runs, 3 runs batted in, all the runs you needed. Gets his batting average up to 269. Nice. 404 on base percentage. That's pretty awesome as well. And then Alec Boehm getting you 2 hits in the ball game, getting his average just under 250 now. Let's get something going here for Alec Boehm. Love to see that average continue to climb. Then you'll also look at some of the things that might concern you a little bit. Trey Turner, 3 strikeouts, 0 for 4. His batting average goes down to 310. It was at 318 to start the game. Not such a great spot right there. But as I have mentioned many times over, by the way, JT Realmuto also getting a hit. As I mentioned many times over, the umpire, Alan Porter, behind the plate was terrible. Terrible. A couple of things on this. Number one, I understand that the criticism of the robo umps is that they're not 100%. Okay. I'll take consistency right now. First off, for the record, I'll take robo umps right now. I'll start with the appeal system in spring training. Just roll that right into the regular season, please and thank you. But Alan Porter, I'll give him this. He was consistent yesterday. He was wrong a lot of times, but he was consistently wrong. What was a strike in the first inning was a strike in the 9th inning and throughout the game. And Nick Castellanos got rung up on a couple of pitches. One in particular was a pitch that was, an outside sinker that tailed back a little bit, but not across the plate, any portion of the plate, not even the black of the plate. And Nick Castellanos had an issue with that. There were 2 other pitches that were right there on the corner or at the knees that were called strikes that Castellanos didn't like, but they were strikes. They were the right call. Kyle Schwarber, I thought at one point I thought he was going to go full Hernandez on Porter yesterday, where a pitch was called, I think it was at the knees, and it was low. And Kyle Schwarber had a big issue with it. His head snapped back. He looked like he started having a conversation with him. And ESPN had the ump cam linked up yesterday to Porter. And there was a great shot. I wish it would have stayed on Kyle Schwarber arguing about the call, but it did not, unfortunately. He gets back in the box, and then he handles his business. And I believe that was his first home run of the game. Then in the 8th inning, the second home run, actually I should say, I think it was the 6th inning of the game. He steps up to the plate again. He's got a 3-1 count. Bryce Harper had worked a walk already, so he got a runner on first with 1 out. Trey Turner struck out one of his 3 times. Bryce Harper comes up, works a walk. He got a runner on first with 1 out. 3-1 count to Kyle Schwarber. Ortiz throws him a curveball that drops in around the middle of his shin, so low, considerably low. And Porter, streak, makes it a 3-2 count. Schwarber has to call timeout, steps out of the box, steps back in, and ends up lining out to deep left field. Very frustrating game. Now, the same thing also benefited Zach Wheeler, by the way. And the same thing, more so than Jose Alvarado, it benefited Jordan Romano in yesterday's game because he was certainly using the outer edges, outskirts. He was using balls that were strikes because he knew Alan Porter was going to call it. So it worked. It worked to help the Phillies get a shutout. And it helped that Kyle Schwarber was red hot no matter what the strike zone was yesterday. It was very frustrating to watch that game yesterday, especially watching guys sit down, especially with a guy like Trey Turner, who has been red hot at the plate, especially a guy like Nick Castellanos, who has been rather consistent for you at the plate, get called out on these pitches. And when I see so many of these strikeouts looking, I always look back at the umpire like, okay, these guys kind of know what they're doing. Hard to find a hotter hitter in baseball than what Trey Turner's been able to do as of late. And you want to ring him up looking? Doesn't really make a whole hell of a lot of sense. He got called out on strikes and a sinker low and away, Trey Turner in the 3rd inning. Comes back around in the 6th inning, gets rung up on a sinker that was in. He feels like he had to flail away. That was a wild swing from Trey Turner. Then he goes down swinging at another slider. That was a wild pitch as well. Or no, I shouldn't say wild pitch. That was the same pitch that he had swung out earlier in the game. But this one he took. So he goes down twice looking yesterday on pitches that were not strikes. Little bit of an issue with the way the game was umpired yesterday, and it makes me want to desperately beg Major League Baseball to advance the process of robo-umps, as they're so affectionately referred to now. At least give me the challenge system that we saw. Alec Boehm, was it the homestand? I think it was the homestand, the recent homestand. Alec Boehm, the last homestand, actually signaled for the appeal where he tapped the top of his head, tapped the top of his helmet. He has my support. So that's where we're at right now as far as baseball goes with robo-umps. As far as the game goes yesterday, let's start with number 1, Zach Wheeler. Just a masterful performance. My favorite thing that he did yesterday, my absolute favorite thing from Zach Wheeler came in the 6th inning of yesterday's game, where he gives up a 1-out double to Quan. He had him 0-2, lost him 3-2. 3-2 fastball, caught way too much of the plate. Quan just drilled it to the right center field gap and got on second. So there you go. Then he walks Sheeman. Sheeman is first and second with 1 out. Ramirez steps up. He actually tattooed a cutter to center field. Rojas was all over it, so now he got 2 outs of the inning. So now he's facing Carlos Santana. Carlos Santana sees 3 pitches. The 3rd pitch he sees is a curveball that just absolutely buckles him. He tried to hold up the swing. Didn't matter. It was a strike anyway. Dropped it in beautifully. Here's what I love about that. At that point in the game, 6th inning, Zach Wheeler had thrown 83 pitches. Only 7 of those 83 pitches were curveballs. He broke out an 0-2 curveball. He only threw one other curveball in that inning, I believe. Yeah, one other curveball in the inning, and he threw 14 pitches in the inning, or 19 pitches in the, 22 pitches in the inning. Only one other pitch was a curveball. Broke out the curveball on Santana. It was the last pitch he threw in the 6th inning, sat him down. It was a nasty 12-6 hook. Nasty. Then he comes out in the 7th inning, and he has his easiest inning of the night. 9 pitches. Manzano grounds out to second. Naylor flies out to center field. Great play by Rojas, by the way, at the wall. And then Arias grounds out to third to end it. 9 pitches for Zach Wheeler in the 7th inning. He finished up with 93, 7 scoreless, 3 hits, 2 walks, 8 Ks. That's a nice night. That's a nice night for Zach Wheeler. Now, offensively speaking, weren't able to get much going again here for the Phils. Show you the numbers here again. They come up with 6 hits. Not great, but good enough considering 2 of those 6 hits were home runs. In one of those instances, one guy was on base. So big bang, boom, 3 runs scored for your Philadelphia Phillies, all courtesy of Kyle Schwarber in yesterday's game. 2nd inning of the game, he gets a 1-1 changeup, middle in. He does not miss it. Not even a little bit. He blasts that one out to right field, and he knew it from contact. 1-0 Phils. Then fast forward to the 8th inning for Kyle Schwarber. Again, this pitch by Herron, he's got Kyle Schwarber clearly trying to pitch around Kyle Schwarber. Clearly trying to pitch around Kyle Schwarber. Wants nothing to do with facing Kyle Schwarber. Wants to keep it a 1-run game. At this point, you already had Stott on base with a walk. Stott worked a full count. Works the walk. Turner steps up to the plate. Stott steals second. Turner goes down. Harper lines out to left field. Kyle Schwarber's up in the count, 2-0. Herron throws that slider that was way inside and gets not even. Now, this was where consistency is not the argument for Alan Porter because this pitch was way too inside. Schwarber gets called. He calls the strike. It's 2-1 count. They then set up away. So, again, still trying to pitch around Kyle Schwarber. They set up away. The pitch comes right over the middle of the plate. A sinker with no run. Goes right over the middle of the plate. And Herron missed his spot. Schwarber did not miss the pitch. 397 yards, center field, 2-run home run, 3-0 Phils. Everybody can exhale. Bottom of the 8th inning, Wheeler's night is done. Alvarado comes in. He's just cooking in last night's game. 14 pitches, gets through that with a strikeout. Jordan Romano then comes in the 9th inning. He gets through that. 13 pitches, 2 strikeouts. Just humming, man. Just humming. And I look back now over this road trip where, again, the most important thing, the main thing is the main thing. They won 5-1 on the 6-game road trip. They have now won 5 straight series. They've played 5 series since getting swept out into Flushing, New York against the Mets. They have won every series since, including a sweep of the Tampa Bay Rays, fighting, scratching, clawing to get through an extra innings affair that Thursday night before starting the weekend series in Cleveland. They did everything they needed to do. Alec Bowman's his first home run. Zach Wheeler gives you 13 2/3 innings, allows just 2 runs over that span, including the 7 scoreless yesterday. Kyle Schwarber's red hot. Trey Turner's been red hot. I mean, in all honesty, this team just looks like they are in a fantastic position to keep the run going, especially now that they sit at 24-16 on the season. They got this 3-game series coming up here against the St. Louis Cardinals, who have been hot. Then after that, they got a 3-game series with the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are not a they're not a very good baseball team. And I believe I meant to check before the show. Oh, they do face Skeens. Okay, they will face Skeens on Sunday, the last game of this series. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. The St. Louis Cardinals, by the way, are just on fire now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games They have won 8 games in a row. They have won 10 of their last 12. They have been on fire. And by the way, they have beaten the Mets twice in that span. They swept the Pirates. They swept the Nationals. But now it's time for the real test. Beat up on all those Punch and Judy teams. Now you got the Phils, baby. Our loyal listener and viewer, Ari, St. Louis Cardinals fan, but also an Eagles fan, so we love him for that. It's going to be a fun one. So there you go. Get your best baseball going here, Phils. Keep it rolling. Give the good hometown fans here a great run. Continued, that is. That's what I'll be rooting for when it comes to this squad. Hey, by the way, down on the farm, Otto Kemp just continues to hit. I think Garrett Stubbs essentially won you 2 games over the weekend. So here's the conundrum with the Phillies in the very near future. I think it's just a matter of time before Garrett Stubbs gets caught up here. It maybe even this week. Like, Rafael Marchand ain't it, man. But the question the Phillies have to ask themselves is, are they prepared to lose him? Because I don't think a guy – look, has he been playing terrible this year? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't think he makes it through waivers and goes down to AAA. And if he does get taken off the roster, then maybe that'll be a good sign for Otto Kemp to get elevated, at least to the 40-man roster. That would be an interesting thing to follow over the next couple weeks at most. But for me, I've seen enough. Aaron Nola is nowhere near the pitcher he is when he has Garrett Stubbs when he has Rafael Marchand versus how he is when he has Garrett Stubbs. And isn't this all about putting your guys in the best possible position? Because as much as I'd love to see Rafael Marchand worked out, and I told you before the season that this was the right call, it has not worked out, obviously. Well, it's kind of time to acknowledge that mistake. Rafael Marchand needs to play. Garrett Stubbs knows the deal. I'll say that. He's got to go up here. He's going to come up here and catch. Like maybe once every 5-6 days. Rafael Marchand needs to play. Garrett Stubbs does not. That's the crazy thing. He just needs to catch Aaron Nola, and everything else is gravy. So for me, I've made the decision already. Phillies hopefully will come around on that in the very near future. By the way, for the Phillies, this series, you're going to have Sanchez, Luzardo, Nola. So maybe you see Nola being caught by Garrett Stubbs on Wednesday and Rafael Marchand off the roster. I doubt it. Would like to see it, but I doubt it. Also, I feel like, and I've been saying this, you're going to get a shot of life. Whenever Andrew Painter comes up to the big league roster, it's going to feel like a new dawn. It's going to feel like hopefully an early trade deadline. Hopefully they have him up. They feel good about having him up before the trade deadline, but that could be a nice little acquisition for this Phillies rotation. And also, let's not forget that since Taijuan Walker threw 3 innings with 7 strikeouts against Tampa Bay Rays, we haven't seen him since. So also might want to keep in mind the idea that Rob Thompson jumped to after that game, which was, if we might go to a 6-man rotation. If we go to a 6-man rotation, we'll Taijuan Walker to make sure that he's stretched out. So I found that another interesting tidbit from the weekend when it comes to your Philadelphia Phillies. By the way, this is a great stretch for the Phillies, not just with this road trip, or excuse me, coming back from this road trip, but they went 5-1. They got 3 games against a team that still, I don't care what the record is. You're talking about a team playing hot. I don't care who they played. A team has played well. They have won games. Like I said, 10 of their last 12. Then the St. Louis Cardinals are a team that you got to take seriously. The Pittsburgh Pirates are not very good. Go ahead and beat them. The Colorado Rockies, I don't know if you've been paying attention, they're pretty terrible. The Phillies are about to have a 4-game series with them, April 19th through the 22nd. Or excuse me, May 19th through the 22nd. Then they got the Athletics, who are also not very good at baseball. And then more of a real deal. They got a 3-game series with the Braves in South Philly as their last full series of the month before facing the Milwaukee Brewers. So that's where we're at right now in life. Ain't that fun? Ain't that fun? I kind of unloaded everything when I came to the Philadelphia 76ers when I spoke about it earlier. Draft lotteries tonight. That's it. Sixers have a 64% chance of keeping that number. Keeping their first-round pick, which has to be a top 6 protected pick, which is a top 6 protected pick on the Sixers side. It falls out of the top 6. It goes to OKC. Sixers actually have a 42% chance at a top 4 pick and a 64% chance of a top 6 pick. I can't remember a time that a team had any ounce of promise. Like any ounce of, like this has a tiny bit of promise, what the Sixers have right now. Tiny bit of promise. Tiny bit. I don't believe in it. A tiny bit of promise isn't, oh, let's jump on that bandwagon. No, it's not that at all. But I can't remember a time where a team had a little bit of promise. Just enough to say they have a little bit. And I've had less faith. I've had less hope than I have with the 76ers team as constructed. It making no sense to me. But if you're being a realist, and I feel like we've all been dragged through the mud when it's come to the 76ers squad, and then still seeing Jimmy Butler play at an extremely high level in the postseason, it makes me always go back to that team that got bounced out by the quadruple doink and Kawhi Leonard and how that was the best Sixers team I have seen post-process. And really, the second the process was over and Elton Brand cashed in those chips for Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, as quickly as he cashed him in was as quick as it was over. We're talking maybe February where we could decide for ourselves whether or not the Sixers are really a team worth investing in again for more heartbreak. That's what we're looking at. Tonight is a minuscule step, but a step nonetheless. And I can only cross my fingers that the ping pong balls bounce in the right spots for the 76ers to get a top 3 pick. Top 2. Give me the number 1 pick. That might put the good vibes in motion for the upcoming season. That's really it. But even then, still got to show me. Still got to show us about what this team can do in the next season. I don't know. Not a lot of us. I feel like a lot of people. I feel like I'm on the same page with a lot of people. It's like, oh yeah, that's great. No. It's like a little kid apologizing to you time and time again. It's I'm sorry. It's just like, oh, don't tell me you're sorry. Show me. Show me. I heard a little bit of Daryl Morey on with Mike Missinelli and Bill Colarulo as well on the Fanatic. And if you're Daryl Morey, like, what are you going to say? I'm good at winning? Really? That the only winning people care about at this point is championships. If there's any shining star to put on Daryl Morey's resume, it's his drafting ability. Jared McCain certainly being right there. Tyrese Maxey being right there. That's a pretty damn good job there, Daryl Morey. The acquisition of Quentin Grimes, if you're able to retain him, that was pretty damn good as well. What, Caleb Martin? Yeah, Caleb Martin for Quentin Grimes. That's pretty damn good. Keep that together. But to make a blanket statement of good at the winning thing, let's pump the brakes there, D. Okay? Anyway, let me tell you about the great people at the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game, the concert, the comedy show? Take advantage of all they have to offer on the Game Time app. It's fantastic. Game Time app. Use Game Time Picks feature on the Game Time app. Gives you everything you need. The best seats at the best prices right there on the Game Time app. It filters out all the fluff so you don't have to literally scroll through thousands of tickets just to get to something that you really want. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine Monday morning. William Stark, good morning. Wheeler, wheeling and dealing, hell yeah. April, good morning. Danny Prado, hi Farzy, hello. Kevin, Sean Kilrain, hello. Jordan Romano, a.k.a. Little Dicky, since he really does look like Little Dicky. Ever since April 20th, 6 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, 1.45 ERA. I did it for you, Deborah. Yeah, it's great. I love it. I'm so glad the month of April is over. Stupid YouTube needs to quit tagging me. Oh, yeah, that must be terrible. That must be terrible, April. Ooh, Sean Kilray, why do I think I'm not going to like this? Bryce Harper has 998 career RBIs, 2 shy of 2,000. Will be first player. Okay, no, I do like this. First player since Ryan Howard to reach 1,000 career RBIs in a Phillies uniform. Only 305 players in Major League Baseball history have 1,000 RBIs. I was thinking about that. 305 doesn't seem like any kind of like top list, But you think of like every player that's ever played Major League Baseball, and you're talking about 305. That's great company. That is great company. Home run leaderboard: Kyle Schwarber, I think Aaron Judge is at 14 now. Aaron Judge, 14 home runs. Kyle Schwarber, 14 home runs. Pin 9617, good morning. James Alexander, good morning. A complete game shutout is great. A complete game shutout is only for one pitcher. Complete game shutout means the starting pitcher completed the game, my man. You know what I mean? A shutout. This is just a shutout. Just a shutout, right? William Stark, Sixers have a geriatric team. I can't remember the movie. It might have been Naked Gun 33 1/3. It might have been Naked Gun 33 1/3. I'm going to look it up. But I'm pretty sure it was where they do the fake Academy Award type thing. And they're like, and it was right around the time Jurassic Park came out. So they're like, and now Geriatric Park. And it's just these older people on walkers, like squashing like they're a T-Rex squashing a van. I'm pretty sure it was Naked Gun 33 1/3. And that's going to bother me. Okay, it's a Simpsons reference in here. I don't have any care about that. It was Naked Gun. Oh, man. Oh, Leslie Nielsen and Raquel Welch. Is that Raquel Welch? It's Raquel Welch. Presenting the fake award. Oh, man. Nostalgia at its best. Sean Kilray with his 2 home run gun. Kyle Schwarber now on pace for 57 home runs this season. Tied with Aaron Judge for most of it. There we go. Is that where? Did I misread you earlier? I did misread you earlier, Sean Kilray. My apologies. 14 Kyle Schwarber, 14 Aaron Judge, 12 Shohei Ohtani and Miscusi, 12 Cal Raleigh, and 12 Eugenio Suarez. Miscusi. Sean Kilray, 9 strikeouts are a season high. He's now 5-2 with a 2.53 ERA. Oh, for McAble. McAble, there you go. He's dealing. Rob V. What's up, Rob? February, this team is on a long tunnel headed to nowhere. You trust this team to make the right pick? I trust Daryl Morey to make the right pick. I do. But after that, not much. I don't trust Joel Embiid to stay healthy. I don't trust that Paul George has great basketball left in him. Here's how the Sixers season ends, I believe, next year. They're a 6 seed. And they get bounced out in the second round of the playoffs. And it ain't close. That's how I feel the Sixers season ends next year. That's not a brag. Excuse me, did I say second round of the first round of the playoffs? They get bounced out in the first round of the playoffs. To say they're a playoff team is not a brag. It might be a bit of a brag to say they avoid the play-in tournament, but they get bounced out in the first round of the playoffs next year. That's the way the season ends. Again, Joel Embiid's no longer an MVP candidate. Paul George is no longer the guy the Sixers thought they acquired. Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, and whoever their draft pick is, hopefully they get a draft pick. That's the new core going forward. But yeah, long tunnel to nowhere is, yeah, I mean, I'll do you one better. The long tunnel runs through this season and probably through next season. And then maybe another year you get something worth watching again. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. Let's get to the morning rush. Brought to you by Sky Motorcars. SkyMotorcars.com. Phillies, Cardinals tonight. 6:45 start time in South Philadelphia as the Phillies start this 6-game homestand. Very much looking forward to the Phillies keeping the winning ways going tonight, especially when you look at the pitching matchup for this evening. You are looking at Christopher Sanchez against Matthew. I always say his name wrong. It's Liberatore. Lefty matchup tonight. Liberatore is 3-3 on the season with a 3.07 ERA, 6 walks. Christopher Sanchez 4-1 with a 2.89 ERA. Things looking good there for Christopher Sanchez, giving up 4 home runs. The Phillies, they did face Liberatore. I think it's just Liberatore. Already this season, and they did not fare well. He went 6 scoreless, 3 hits against the Phillies in that situation. Sanchez, if you remember, was trying to get the Phillies off the schneid in that series earlier in the year, and he did just that. That's the game he induced. I think 4 double play balls. The Phillies induced 5 in total in the game, but he had a hell of a start there. 6 1/3, 1 run, 8 hits, 2 walks, but was just masterful when it came to getting the double play balls against the St. Louis Cardinals. It worked out beautifully in that regard for the Phils. Hopefully he won't need that many to get things going there for the Phillies against the Cardinals. Yeah, it was a hell of a game. That's all we care about. Hell of a game. All right, folks. I will be back with you guys tonight on Locked On Phillies Postcast and the Locked On Phillies YouTube channel. By the way, a lot of support for that channel. I really appreciate you guys. So make sure you guys are liking and subscribing and all that great stuff. Also, I believe tomorrow we're going to be doing a later version. Or tomorrow we're going to be, okay, it'll probably be today. Trying to get everybody on the same page here. Probably doing 1 o'clock today, an all-new Eagles, Locked On Eagles Squad podcast with myself, Jason Martinez, Harry Mays, and Louis DiBiase. So keep your eyes out for that. We got some schedule talk going on. We're also looking to feature this past season a little bit more, considering how historic it was for the Eagles. So we'll be breaking all that down on the show today at 1 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. Back with you guys 2 different times today. Locked On Phillies postcast after the Phillies game today, and then Locked On Eagles YouTube channel as well for the Locked On Eagle Squad podcast. Catch you guys then. Have a great rest of your day.